Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Star Wars Stuff Podcast, where we talk all things Star Wars. My name is Colin,
And my name is Zach.
and we're here to talk about.
All things Star Wars.
Wow, it's like that was scripted. That was great. For this week in news, we have Life Day, which is happening tomorrow on November 17th, and we'll talk about the history of Life Day, not just in our world, but in the galaxy and what's canon and what's not canon, legends, and all that fun stuff. And then we've got news about Taika's film, and Mando season 4 is ramping up.
Yeah, lots to talk about today.
Yeah.
So
let's take it away.
Let's start off with this Taika article that we got from Bespin Bulletin that was posted today. So the article title is Taika Waititi says that his Star Wars movie will, air quotes, piss people off, and that it will be a Taika Waititi film. So I guess based off the title of this article alone, it's there's a little bit of, I don't know. I mean, Taika's always kind of been on his own path, kind of doing his own thing, and this article, I think, kind of follows that. Just already reading the title.
Yeah, so here's my thing about it is if you're going to do a Star Wars film and that's what you're telling people, to me that's kind of a red flag.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't mind the director. I think he's funny. And a lot of people go to Thor Ragnarok as like, ooh, like, you know,
like a prime example.
Right.
Yeah.
But when you're dealing with Star Wars, and I've said this in the past, is Star Wars has a blueprint. And when you're making a Star Wars film, there's certain expectations to me that have to be met. And if you turn it into a comedy, that's fine. But at the same time, it still has to feel like Star Wars. Like it just can't have lightsabers and a bunch of other different things in there.
Absolutely.
And then, like, boom, Star Wars. It has to have that Star Wars vibe. If it's not dealing with the Skywalker family, I'm fine with that. But it's just, we don't want another kind of Last Jedi situation.
Sure.
Of where you're dealing with characters that have been established for so long. But with Taika's film, I'm excited but nervous because I don't want Thor Love and Thunder or Thor Ragnarok vibe for a Star Wars movie. I think that would really just kind of throw me off.
Yeah, I think same here. I really liked what he did with the last episode of Mando season 1.
Yeah.
Just kind of having the scout troopers shoot at that little can or whatever.
Yes.
I thought that was funny, and I thought it was perfect. I didn't think it was overdone. You could tell Taika might have been behind that from like the creative perspective a little bit, because Star Wars doesn't have a ton of humor. But I think the way they kind of were weaving that in worked, because The Mandalorian was kind of refreshing. It was new at the time, and getting a fresh take on that I thought was nice. But if you go a little bit further than that, that's where you might lose some people and think people disagree a little bit much with what he's doing. But let's take a peek at this article here. So it starts off, Taika Waititi, the director behind critically acclaimed films such as What We Do in the Shadows, Hunter for Wilder People, and Jojo Rabbit, as well as commercial hits such as Thor Ragnarok and Thor Love and Thunder, has shared what people can expect from his long in development Star Wars movie. And the article kind of goes on here to state that his movie was announced in, I believe, May of 2020 here.
Yeah.
So it's kind of been on the back burner for a bit. It sounds like there's been a handful of projects over at Lucasfilm and Disney that have been on the back burner.
Yeah, because not only during May, but kind of during the fall when they had that when they had the investors call and they announced all those other projects like Droids and Rangers of the New Republic.
Absolutely.
And the Lando series and all that. And I just remember that day I was like, oh my gosh, this is so hype.
Yeah.
And now half of those projects aren't even happening anymore.
Yeah, definitely. And the article goes on to state, when asked if his flick would stay true to what fans have come to know and love about Star Wars movies, Waititi responds, "It will be a dramatic pause, a Taika Waititi film." Before adding that the film is going to possibly piss people off, as he begins to laugh. So Again, we kind of talked about this before we started here. If it's, if he's joking or if he's being,
Yeah, yeah,
I mean, he's a funny guy. He
yeah,
really is. He could be joking, and
yeah.
I take things too literally sometimes. So that could be me. As the reader, I interpret that as he's kind of being bold and stating it'll be different right off the bat.
Right. And again, like, I if you're advertising your movie like that, to
Yeah.
me, that's kind of I I don't want to say red flag, but it's just like, okay,
Yeah.
we're doing a Star Wars movie. You want to bring people in. If you're saying that your Star Wars project is gonna tick people off, that's to me, that's kind of a weird way to draw people into coming and see your movie. Now, I know some people that will be drawn into like that. I'll be like, ooh, like
Yeah.
this is new Star Wars. I mean, for example, you've got Andor. Andor was a totally different take on Star Wars, very similar to Rogue One, but a lot darker. And at first, some people did have an issue with it
Yeah.
because they're like, oh, like this is not a traditional Star Wars. It's darker. It feels like it should be on HBO Max, something like that. But then you get past the 3 episodes and you dive deeper into the world of Andor and you really fall in love with it.
Yeah.
Um,
Absolutely.
and you can't judge a film before it even comes out. You can have concerns, but you can't say this movie is going to be crap.
Yeah.
This whole thing is just not for me, even before seeing it, because it's just like you have to give them a chance. And that's what we did with The Last Jedi. Like, I walked in feeling very optimistic. I remember watching that trailer at Star Wars Celebration 2017
Yeah.
of where Luke Skywalker was like, it's time for the Jedi to end. And I just remember sitting there being like, that's interesting coming
Yeah. Definitely.
from Luke Skywalker, but I'll go see it. And then I saw it, and then I was able to like go and full out and be like, okay, this film wasn't the best for me, but
Yeah.
it's and again, there are some elements of that movie that are pretty cool. But with that being said, going into Taika's movie, I think a lot of people will compare it to Thor: Love and Thunder and to Thor: Ragnarok in his other previous films,
Yeah.
because Taika has a very funny way of doing films where it's funny but serious at the same time.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think Thor Ragnarok was such a huge hit and kind of a twist on
Yeah.
Thor from what we knew him to be in previous Avengers movies. Like he's
Yes.
kind of I guess the first Thor starts off like he's kind of party Thor a little bit, and then he kind of reels it together, adds a couple Avengers movies. He has a lot of character development, and then the movie starts off with a joke. Oh no,
Yeah.
Thor's in a cage. Like,
Yeah.
and it's different already, but it was a huge hit just because of what people were looking for
Right.
in a Thor movie and Marvel. But granted, that's kind of apples and oranges, right?
Yeah.
But when you look at Thor: Love and Thunder, I think Disney kind of gave Taika too much rope to where he kind of hung himself a little bit, and he didn't know it until after it came out.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
And there's a listener, Derpy Entertainment. He says that that there was a time of optimism when Disney first bought Star Wars. I don't think they did promise the Old Republic. I never I know that was an idea that was being tossed around, but I don't think they did promise the Old Republic. I think that's something that the fans really wanted, like right away, because I remember back in 2012 when they sold the rights, the big two projects that the audience and the fans of Star Wars really wanted was something with Obi-Wan Kenobi,
yep,
and the Old Republic era.
we're halfway there.
Right. And the closest thing that we're getting to the Old Republic right now, like as TV show wise, is the High Republic, which is going to be happening in Acolyte, which now that the strike is done,
Yeah.
in my opinion, we should be getting a trailer any day now. My guess is maybe around Thanksgiving time, hopefully, or by the end of the year, like around Christmas of going into the new year.
Yeah.
Just because of those two shows. There's Skeleton Crew and Acolyte. Right now, Skeleton Crew would just probably be ending if we were still on the same schedule.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, but because the strike had pushed a lot of things back.
Absolutely.
So, but yeah, a different take on Star Wars, I'm fine with. I have no problem with it, but it's just there's a blueprint that there is a blueprint of Star Wars that has been established for over 40 years
Yeah.
now.
And we won't know if this movie hits until it comes out. I mean, we can
Right.
kind of have ideas on what's going on. And
Yep.
I hate to say it, reading that article title doesn't make me super optimistic,
Yep.
but I do like to be surprised.
Yes.
So.
Yeah. Do you remember all the fan theories that were happening for the Last Jedi? Like
Yes.
of being like Snoke is Darth Plagueis.
Yep, I do remember
and just
those.
all these theories. And I remember going and I'm like, this film's gonna be crazy. It's the longest Star Wars film ever made. And then walking out, half of those theories that that came out didn't even happen.
And I remember it was a big deal that in the trailer you see Star Wars was in like the red text.
Yeah.
And I was talking to buddies of mine at high school and the trailer came out. And they're like, "Oh, Return of the Jedi had red text when it was being promoted, or maybe it was Revenge of the Jedi before they changed it."
Yep.
And it's kind of like, oh, the red text. And I believe Revenge of the Sith was also red.
Yes.
When it was promoted.
Yep.
So that kind of, I don't know, gave me ideas for what could have happened. And I mean, it was different than what I thought it was going to be, but different doesn't mean it's bad. There's people out there who like it. It's not my favorite Star Wars film, but I like all Star Wars. So I'm a little biased in that sense, but yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Yep. And then we have season 4 of The Mandalorian, from different actors, including some of the stunt performers, including Katie Sackhoff. They have hinted at and kind of revealed that season 4 is happening, which we kind of suspected, but what we didn't expect was that it was going to be filming so soon. And they were supposed to be filming this fall, but because of the strike, it pushed back. So it sounds like the beginning of next year is when season 4 of Mando will be filming. How do we feel about season 4 of Mando happening? Probably before the Dave Filoni movie.
I mean, I'm okay with it. I definitely think they put Mando in a spot of uncertainty. Like, we don't really know what's next for him. And I guess it kind of gives season 4 the excuse to kind of like, he could just immediately jump off into another adventure. And that adventure could heavily lead up to the Dave Filoni movie. Potentially.
Yes.
Potentially.
Now, there have been rumors for a long time that have been where they've been kind of bouncing back and forth of what season 4 of Mando would be. There's a rumor / news article came out today stating that that Pedro Pascal is going to be taking over the role of Mr. Fantastic for
Marvel,
for the MCU.
Yeah,
which if that's the case, that means he's going to be a very, very busy man. And then he's got Last of Us, season 2, part 2, and then you've got The Mandalorian season 4. With Mando season 4, if they don't have him take off his helmet, he can still do the voice lines, but I just strongly felt that they were leaning towards Bo-Katan kind of taking over.
Sure.
And maybe the show will focus on her more, which I have no problem with. I think that's amazing.
Same here.
And then you've got him, doing other projects right now because he's
a busy man.
He's
in
a
high
very,
demand.
very busy man. I think we'll be sad if we don't see him on screen as much as we did in the previous seasons. But now Thrawn is back, so it's like, is Thrawn gonna play a big role in season 4, or will he make a cameo? What's gonna be happening in season 4 of Mando? Is the big question.
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess kind of thinking about how season 3 ended with the Mandalore plot and how I guess I'm trying to remember the specific names, but like more of the different groups in Mandalore that came together and kind of came to, I don't want to say like an agreement, but it seemed like, taking your helmet off is kind of like naughty or taboo or whatever. And then you get to the end of season 3 and it seems like there's like people can coexist. The people have different theories and mindsets can coexist. And seeing how Din Djarin took his helmet off for Grogu at the end of season 2, it kind of made me think maybe he'll warm up to that idea a little bit more, especially with Mandalorians in general warming up to that idea.
Yeah.
And that kind of opens it up to him potentially having more face time as Pedro Pascal coming in future episodes or seasons or movies or however. And if he's, you know, all over the place
Yeah.
because he's doing Last of Us or potentially Fantastic Four, there'd be a lot less of that. It could be a step backwards. I don't want to dare say that because I love the Mandalorian as a character. I think the way he was handled in season 3 was really cool. But I don't know. What do you think?
I wouldn't. Well, you have that ending of season 3, which first off is just they did the same type kind of shot
Like the Looney Tunes.
Yeah, because they also did that for Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, and that threw me off.
That's right, they did.
Yeah, because I remember watching like season at the end of season 3 of Mando. I'm like, oh, okay. I was like, just a closing circle and Grogu, great. And then you watch the 5th Indiana Jones, you're like, what?
Yeah.
Really? Twice?
Yeah.
I was like, oh, okay. But it kind of, and the season ended on that note of where it was, you've got Din where he's kind of fulfilled his destiny of helping the people of Mandalore, his people, kind of refurbish of what was left of the planet and the capital. And I think going forward, I think that's going to kind of affect his journey, because now you've got that point of his journey that's done. So now it's like, now he can do side missions for the New Republic.
Yeah.
He can, but he can keep doing his own thing as a bounty hunter and raising Grogu as a son.
Yeah, absolutely.
But will that be the whole season of season 4, or will it be like, hey, here's a side kind of quest episode of where we see Grogu and Mando doing his thing? But I think it's gonna, to me, I think season 4 would focus on the growth and the rebirth of the people of Mandalore. Kind of like with, you've got the show The Walking Dead, and you've got all these seasons that came out after Rick, kind of left the show. For those who haven't really watched Walking Dead, it wasn't Rick's story anymore, and it turned into, into the group and the people that Rick met along the way, and that's how the show ended. And now you've got all these different spin-off shows and stuff like that. But to me, I think having the title of the show called The Mandalorian, that's not just Din Djarin anymore.
Yeah.
In my thought process, at least, it's the people of Mandalore, and that can be any Mandalorian now.
Yeah, no, I agree. And they definitely, leaned into that heavily with season 3 and having Bo-Katan take up a large role. And it was really cool to see how she stepped into her own a lot more in any other ways that we've seen so far, like in animation. Even in season 2 of The Mandalorian. It was really cool to see that.
100%. So season 4, we don't know when it's going to come out, but
yeah, absolutely,
it's going to be exciting. Now we've got Life Day happening tomorrow, November 17th. Can you talk about Life Days?
Yeah. So Life Day is a Wookiee holiday that originated from Kashyyyk.
Yeah.
And I believe it was celebrated before the reign of the Empire, but after the reign of the Empire had a different effect in celebration.
Yes.
And I believe, I think it's the Tree of Life on Kashyyyk. Is that how it's? Yeah. So and Wookiees gather once a year, or is it once every 3 years? I wasn't 100% sure if it was. I think it's once a year.
Yeah.
I think it's once a year, and they just celebrate life.
Yeah.
I mean, Life Day, it's kind of a little self-explanatory, but the Wookiees add a spiritual aspect. Just kind of with how, like, when you look at Kashyyyk as a whole, Kashyyyk is very green. It's very like full of life, whether, you've got Wookiees running around or, like, just, you see that in the Bad Batch. You see that a little bit in Revenge of the Sith. It makes me think of the line when Rey and Han Solo are landing on Takodana, and I've never seen this much green before. And I'm like, just go to Kashyyyk, dude. Like you don't even know. But it's a holiday celebrating life, and after Wookiees were enslaved by the Empire and taken into captivity, Life Day got a whole new meaning when the Empire was defeated, and the Wookiees celebrated Life Day, just kind of adding a little bit more to it. They started giving gifts to each other and just celebrated it with a lot more, I'd say, like chutzpah, like a little bit, you know what I mean?
100%.
They got way more into it, because I mean, good for the Wookiees, right? I mean, that's awesome. It's tough to see that the Wookiees were enslaved. We see that a little bit in Star Wars Rebels, like one of the first 2 episodes, and the Ghost Cruise, one of their first missions is saving some Wookiees. And not a lot of people think about how the Wookiees were enslaved during that time. And Chewbacca, being a smuggler with Han Solo, just doesn't really, you don't, when you think of Wookiees, you think Chewbacca. You don't think Chewbacca was enslaved. Chewbacca was not, but a lot of his kind was.
So in Legends, I remember there was an old story of where Han was part of the Empire, kind of like in Solo, but one of his I think his breaking point was he was assigned to execute Chewbacca. And in Han Solo's mind, he was like, this isn't right. And he cut him free, and then they ended up escaping. And that's where their bond kind of happened. Now in Solo, it's
actually Chewbacca was under captivity. I take that back. I said he wasn't, but yes. So
and then you go to the canon story now, which is where Chewie was kind of locked up. He was kind of used as a kind of like the Rancor.
I was going to say that too.
Return of the Jedi, which I remember first watching that scene, and I heard the sound. It didn't sound like a Wookiee. It sounded like a Wampa mixed with a Rancor, and I was really confused. But then I was like, this has to be Chewie. And I just saw, this giant creature walk up, and I'm like, oh, okay. It's 100% Chewie, which I love their meeting, like in the movie. I do Chewie too. And Han meeting the first time, because it wasn't like, hey, I'm Han, hey, what's up? I'm Chewie. It was Chewie's hungry, and there's a chance that he's just going to beat the crap out of him. Which he pretty much did, but it was done in a very funny way.
Absolutely. And I guess kind of thinking more of like I believe they free a few more Wookiees as Solo progresses. And when Chewbacca, he runs into one of the Wookiees and they like touch foreheads, kind of like, you'd see like a mother and a baby, you know what I mean? Like I think they're 2 adult Wookiees, but it's, I don't know, like you could tell that he has the heart to free his people. I mean, who wouldn't, right? Like he's a very noble character.
Fun fact about that scene, the humanoid that is with the Wookiees that are escaping Kessel is played by Anthony Daniels.
Really?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yep.
That's very cool.
At first I didn't recognize him, but if you listen to the voice and then you like pause it and you like look at the screen, it's him. And I was like, oh shoot, I completely missed that.
That's
when I
really
first
cool.
watched in the theater. But now for the behind the scenes stuff for Life Day and the Holiday Special, it came out in 1978. George Lucas tried to destroy every copy. All the actors are really just like, I don't want to talk about the Holiday Special. It's fun, but it's also very, very cheesy. It's cringy, but
it's out there.
And to me, I still watch it every year just because to me it's so funny that it got released, and it's also a very interesting time in Star Wars history. Because you had the great hit of A New Hope that came out in 1977, and then people were so excited in 1978. They're like, "Oh, we're doing a holiday TV special with Star Wars. This should be interesting." And then you get what we got, and you're just like, what was that?
Right. Yeah, it's crazy.
And the fact that Disney kind of has accepted the fate of how interesting and weird the Holiday Special is. They've got merchandise that's selling at Galaxy's Edge. They have mentions of the Holiday Special, of Life Day and The Mandalorian and some other shows and books. Because I think one of the first lines from season 1 was where the can't think of the blue guy's name, but the bounty of Mando was
I know who you're talking about.
The bounty of Mando in season 1 episode 1 was just like, I'm just trying to make it home for Life Day, and it's like, oh, they mentioned the thing that no one really wants to talk about, and then over the years from there was like they keep talking about it and they've kind of accepted it, and then they did like a Lego holiday special where the whole day is on Life Day, and it's a whole time traveling thing, and you're like, what is happening?
But, and Finn's a Jedi.
Yeah.
In training.
Yep.
Yeah.
And they actually have a new Lego set that is.
Yeah, I saw that in the Millennium Falcon. I think it's got Rey, Chewie, a Porg, and some lightsabers, and like some sort of turkey or Star Wars equivalent sitting on a table.
And it's like a Life Day celebration.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, okay, cool.
That's really cool.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I enjoy the holiday special. If you never watched it, go check it out. You can find it on YouTube if you just type in Star Wars holiday special. It is very weird. I'm just letting you know. And because there are scenes where you'll sit there and you'll be like, all right, this is happening.
That's out there.
And,
it exists.
And I remember the first year that my wife and I started dating, I was very excited because to me, it was like, if you can get through the entire holiday special, then you can get through an entire life with me. Because
boom, that's a good sales pitch.
Right. Because it's so weird and nerdy, and I'm so weird and nerdy. So I was like, boom, there you go.
Yeah.
And she did. She watched the holiday special and was like, all right, this is it. I'm going to marry this girl.
There you go. That's awesome. That's how I knew I was going to marry my wife. Well, I knew much sooner, but I got her to watch all of Star Wars with me, including the shows and spinoffs and everything. This was before we had like Obi-Wan, and I think Mando season 2 was around the time frame like that.
Yeah.
End of 2020. I think was when we started dating, and
wow.
I mean, I knew real quick, but it definitely solidified that a little bit for me.
Yeah.
So that's cool. That's cool to hear.
Yeah. So, a couple of things that you can do on Life Day tomorrow. You can go to Galaxy's Edge if you're in the Orlando area or the California area for Disney World and Disneyland. Go and check it out. I remember last year it was so cool because I bought a Life Day Snuggie. I had the orb, and a couple of my friends and I took a picture in front of the Millennium Falcon wearing it, and people were like, whoa, like you're like wearing the robes and the orbs, and the orbs were sold the year prior.
Sure.
And then I remember going around and people were just fully like just theming out. So they had like different red robes on. They were like incorporating Life Day into their costume in some way. And then there was one person that was dressed up as the cook talk show host person.
Yes.
Where the whipster, and they had like the forearms, the whole full purple apron, the terrible white wig, and they were just walking around, and I was like, this is fantastic.
That's fun.
Yeah. So if you have a chance, go to Galaxy's Edge because there's a lot of cool stuff happening over there. And then you can make Wookiee cookies. You can watch the holiday special. But it's so much fun.
Yeah.
And it's kind of their version of Christmas. They don't do anything really in theme with the Land of Galaxy's Edge over there, like except it's Life Day, so they don't have any like Christmas decorations or anything up. But
now the Life Day orbs, do those are those different than like the peace orb that was given to like that Boss Nass had at the end of the Phantom Menace? It reminds me of it, but it's
peace.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So I figured they were a little different, but
yes. It's a lot different.
I see circular glowing things. I'm like, ooh, the same.
Yeah, no. No, it's oh man.
How cool would it be if there was like
now you got me thinking.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, because if they do look similar, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to look that one up because I am curious now.
I'm also curious. I didn't think about that until just now.
Someone said, "Aren't porgs the Star Wars turkey? At least Chewie." I don't know. I've always thought of the porgs more like a rotisserie chicken.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I think of it, I think of like a bucket of wings. Like you grab a drumstick and like, I mean, I feel like a hearty drumstick is the size of a
Yeah.
porg, you know?
Yeah.
But
sometimes when people would come on through on the Falcon and they had their pork on their shoulder,
Yeah.
I'd be like, man, that just seeing that pork just makes me hungry.
Oh,
And
that's funny.
and then people were like, no, it's so cute. And I'm like, have you gone to a Chewbacca barbecue? It is so great. They have pulled pork sandwiches.
Nice.
They have, yeah. So I would just make those jokes. And
dang, dude, now I'm getting hungry. I don't know how related that is, but
yep. So before we end today's episode, I wanted to quiz you because you are also a prequel kid, and we've got this sounds book here, and Ray quizzed me on it, and you can't look.
Okay, deal.
So, yeah.
If I fail, guys, this is probably the last you'll see of me.
So basically, what I'm gonna do is with this book, it's got like 400 sounds or something like that, but what we're gonna do is I'm just gonna play like a sound effect from this book, and you have to guess of what scene it is or of where the sound is coming from.
Dang it, Colin, now you got me nervous.
We can start off with a very easy one. Okay, are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right.
Is that Pod Racers? That's not a Pod Racer. Is that like Coruscant speeders flying around?
It's a Republic gunship.
0 for 1. Oh my word. That's like a layup, and I missed it.
Come on.
I missed the Republic gunship.
Oh man.
Because I was listening to this when you and Ray were doing it, but maybe I could hear it better through my earbuds, but I don't want to make that excuse. Holy cow.
Okay. All right. Here we go.
Fake fan alert.
This one's an easy one. Let's see. All right. Coming up here. All right. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
That wasn't the sound I was thinking, by the way.
So okay, I was gonna say.
Where is it?
I mean, it sounded like a blaster.
Ooh. Okay, hang on. All right, here we go.
Okay. Oh, Attack of the Clones and Geonosis. It's the creature Obi-Wan fights. I don't remember what it's called, but like that sounds like it tipped the pillar over.
It is called the Acklay. And in my mind, I will always remember those creatures. From Attack of the Clones, of course, but I will always have it in my mind of the terrifying mission that you play in the original Star Wars Battlefront 2 of where you go to the planet Felucia and you have to secure like a command post, and you just got 4 or 6 of those creatures coming out of the forest, like attacking you, and if they stabbed you, like your body would just roll for like a while. And
I remember that,
and I just remember playing that like in first person. I was like, oh my goodness. All right, okay, let's do this one.
Oh, I need to hear that last part again. That was it. Oh, is that the beast Obi-Wan rides on Utapau? It sounds like Palkia from Pokemon for those of you who know, but my roommate is obsessed with that thing. I can't remember what it's called to save the life of me, but
all right. So that is 2 out of 3.
Okay.
All right. We're going to 5.
One, I can't believe I missed that. That's so sad.
Okay. And here's another. Ready?
Yep. Grievous's lightsabers.
No hesitation.
Yeah. I can see that in my head. All right, I'm gaining a little bit of confidence back.
Okay, all right, here we go.
All right. Oh, don't do that to me, bro. That's Kiadi Mundi on Oh, what planet is this? It's Order 66. I'm trying to remember what Magneto?
Yes.
Is he on Magneto?
Yeah, but I didn't think that they were gonna play the music. That's so sad.
Oh man, don't do that to me.
Oh, so here is so over the years when they did the special editions and stuff of A New Hope,
Yeah.
there was this sound change.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. So that makes me think of the big creature in the sand when the stormtroopers are looking for evidence of the droids.
No.
Okay. Oh, Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
That's Obi-Wan yelling to scare the Tusken Raiders away from
Yes.
Luke. Okay. Wow, that
Okay.
this is definitely the original one, right?
No.
Oh, that's the special edition?
Right.
Okay. That's what I remember. That sounds more familiar to me.
Yeah, no. They went through like 3 different ones because you've got the original one, which you first heard, and then you had the second one, which I don't think really made it on screen.
Yeah.
And then you got the third one, which was made for the special editions.
You almost wonder if Alec Guinness did any of those, if they had him in a booth and he was just screaming bloody murder.
No way.
Oh man.
Let's see if we can find another one. And this is Clone Wars.
Oof. What year was this book made? Is this a Disney book?
No, this was made, I believe it was in 2008 because this only goes to season 1 of the Clone Wars.
Okay.
And it doesn't have any of the sequel stuff. But I remember getting this as a gift. And all right, 252. Right, here we go. That's a tricky one.
Can I get it one more time? It makes me think of Wat Tambor. I know it's not Wat Tambor. Oh boy, I'm trying to. So this is early Clone Wars.
Yes. I'll give you a second hint. This is from the Clone Wars movie. I'm not gonna lie. I probably would not get this.
Okay.
one.
Well, it's not. Let's see if I can dissect this here for a second. So they've got to be. Are they off Teth at this point? Oh, it's a super battle droid.
Close.
Oh, it's not. Is it a Magna Guard?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That would take me a while.
Without the assistance there, I never would have got that. Is that Zam Wessel's rifle?
Close.
Is it a rifle?
It is a rifle.
Is it a Tusken Raider rifle during the pod race?
Nope. This is now in the Clone Wars TV show.
Oh, is it Aura Singh?
Yes.
Okay.
Good job.
Cool.
Yep, that's it. If you guys haven't seen this book or anything, check it out. I love this book. I've had it for a long time.
I'm intrigued by it now. That is a very cool thing to have as a Star Wars fan.
Yes. Because I have not met Ben Burt yet, but I have met Matthew Wood. And
that'd be cool.
Yeah, and
man, he does so much.
Yeah, he was at Grand Rapids Comic Con a couple of years ago too.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
But yeah. So that's it for this week. We want to thank everyone. Just thank you to everyone that is just constantly sending us messages and their reviews and all that stuff. We love our community and now that we have a bunch of new members, including Zach, that are now part of the family that can kind of carry this legacy on is so awesome because we've been doing this for 5 years and I was just thinking about this the other day of how far we've come as a podcast and it's so much fun. So thank you so much for listening every week and checking out us on TikTok and Facebook and Instagram and all that stuff. We love you guys. So thank you so much for being part of this fantastic journey. You can follow us on YouTube, X, Threads, Instagram, at Star Wars Stuff Podcast. It'll have Max Rebo as a logo. You can't miss it. And then you can go on our if you go on patreon.com, look us up at Star Wars Stuff Podcast 2187. We've got some great content on there, so go and check us out. Is there any closing thoughts?
I guess I just kind of want to say, take a look or keep an eye out for SpaceCon. David talked about this.
Yeah. Oh shoot, yeah.
So there's tickets going. I think tickets for admission are on sale already. And it's confirmed that Hayden Christensen will be at SpaceCon.
You were very excited.
I'm very excited. Jeez, I mean, I've met Taylor Gray, who voices Ezra, but that's the only Star Wars related actor or personnel I've met for Star Wars. And Hayden's like my shooting for the gold number one guy. Like, if I could handpick someone out of a basket to meet from Star Wars, it'd be Hayden Christensen.
He is a super nice guy.
Yeah.
And I remember the first time I met him, I was like, oh, this is my childhood. This is great. And
right
then
there.
Earlier this year in London, David and I had the opportunity of meeting him and Ewan at the same time.
That's cool.
And they've really never done that at a convention before.
Yeah.
So the fact that we were doing it at Star Wars Celebration was very surreal to us. And just seeing them together was like, all right, this is amazing.
Yeah.
So if you have the chance to go to this con, do it. I believe most of the Star Wars Stuff podcast will be there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
And I believe it's October 25, 26, and 27.
Yep.
Excuse me, of next fall in San Antonio, in David and Ray's neck of the woods, and I believe James's old stomping grounds. So we'll be there. We might be able to share a flight out there. We'll see what happens, but prices are up on the Facebook page for what you can purchase to meet Hayden. They have photo ops, they have autographs, kind of anything you can think of. And go check it out. I believe it drops, or tickets for Hayden go on sale tomorrow starting at 12 Central Time. So we're in Eastern Time. So that's an hour behind us. So it'll be 1 p.m. our time. But
you're on top of it.
Just keep an eye out for it and let us know if you'll be going. And we'd love to see you if you're there.
Yeah. And then I will quickly talk about my experience at Motor City Comic Con, because I had the great opportunity of talking to some really cool Star Wars actors. T.C. Carson, who played the voice of Mace Windu from the Clone Wars, and you've also got Jim Cummings was there. Daniel Logan was there. And then the voice actor who played Invader Sim, but to me, Turgle. Love Turgle. And he was so nice. He was fantastic. And then we also spoke to Amy Allen, who played Ayla Sakura at Grand Rapids Comic Con as well, and she was lovely. But yeah, I just love these type of experiences because you'll hear these voices or you'll see them on screen, and then the fact that sometimes you get the honor of talking to them and you happen to have a couple of mics in front of you is just fantastic. So
yeah, they're there for it.
Yep. And those interviews will be out soon, so stay tuned for those. But for myself and Zach, thank you so much for listening. May the Force be with you
always.
Yeah.